Welcome to The More You Know, The Better It Tastes. We are the only podcast for San Antonio restaurants, and I'm Alan Williams and my business partner,
Susie Lafredo.
Susie, how are you today?
I'm fantastic.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
we have amazing guests.
You know
here
what?
today.
We do, and we always say amazing, but this time is truly true. You know, I said there's some heavy hitters in San Antonio, some big time people, I'll name Andrew Weissman, he's our good friend, but Kristina, Zhao, and Brandon Lalaine of Dashi and Sichuan House. First time here. Thank you guys for being here. I've tried to get y'all on for a long time. Y'all are busy.
Thank you for having us.
Oh,
Yes.
we're glad. So they were busy because they got married last year, and we'll talk a lot about that. Congratulations. But Dashi and Sichuan House, both. Am I saying it right when I say Szechuan? Is that correct? Kind of? Good enough?
It's acceptable.
Okay, thank you.
Well, so what's the proper
Szechuan?
Szechuan?
Szechuan.
Okay. So Dashi is at 2895 Thousand Oaks, and Szechuan is at 3505 Wurzbach. These are two Szechuan-style restaurants that are just about the only ones in San Antonio. So when you go there, you're going to have an experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So glad you guys are here today.
Yeah, thanks, Alan. Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you, Susie.
absolutely.
This is exciting. We are finally on the podcast.
Yes.
Are, yeah.
2024 was a wild ride, and here in 2025, we're getting it started with the SA Restaurants Group. So thank you so much for
that's
having
very
us.
cool. I love
that's,
it.
That's great.
You
And
know-
we forgot to mention the other guest. We have Szechuan Puppy
We
here.
do.
Yes, they brought.
Aw, I was so excited.
If you know Kristina, this puppy doesn't go anywhere without her. I mean, she doesn't go anywhere without her puppy. So,
She's the baby.
yeah. So that's the big star. That's who we really wanted on the show.
Exactly.
Szechuan
right.
puppy.
I actually wondered. I was like, I wonder if the puppy's coming.
It's cold outside, so she's got her winter wear
Yeah,
on.
she's so
She
cute.
accessorizes like
Yeah.
that.
Yes. So I have to say really quickly back in the day when when we first became business partners, it was probably about 2.5, maybe 3 years ago now. I remember, really, because I've worked in so many different industries, and I remember when I met Alan and really started getting engrossed in learning about the restaurant scene and the things that were going on, and I kept seeing you, Kristina, just everywhere. And I mean, I was so blown away by just the things that you were doing and the things you were doing in the community and things you were doing with, Dashi. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh. So I was so excited. I was like a fan. I was so excited to meet you. Of course, I'm always excited. You're one of the sweetest people. But I was so excited to meet you. You have really just, I don't know, really taken off in this industry. And I remember thinking, with being, you're a young person and you have made this beautiful restaurant such a success. And it's so exciting to see what you're doing in the culinary scene and really building the culinary. I think that's what excited me the most is what you're doing for San Antonio and our culinary scene. So, anyway,
Very much appreciated.
I tell you that.
Thank you.
See, if you come here more often, you just get your head, full of all these accolades.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
Yeah. So, Kristina, tell us your story. Where
Yeah.
are you from? How long have you been? Were you born in San Antonio?
So I was not born in San Antonio, but I do consider myself a San Antonio native. I was born in China, in Guizhou.
Oh, were you?
It's a neighboring province with Szechuan, but I've been in the States since I was about a year old.
Oh,
Grew up
okay.
in San Antonio, did my undergraduate over in Austin at UT, and then I was working in Dallas when my father decided to open up Sichuan House.
What is your degree in?
In public relations.
Oh, wow.
And
Kinda perfect,
communications.
Yeah, can't
Yeah.
you tell?
I was gonna say that's perfect for a restaurant.
And so you were working in Dallas doing public relations stuff.
I was just doing marketing things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then how did you decide to open a restaurant?
So my father has been an entrepreneur all of his career here in the United States, and he has an Asian grocery store down the street from Sichuan House. And he opened that, not in that location, but he opened that store back in 1997.
What is the
and
name of the grocery store?
It's called Asia Market.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's very straightforward.
Uh-huh.
And so he was thinking about opening up a restaurant for a very long time, and an opportunity came up in 2015, and so he did. And I moved back from Dallas to kind of dip my toes in and see what running a business would be like, and I learned it from the ground up. And
Right.
you know, and
But
then,
did you think that a restaurant is what you wanted to do? Did you already know that?
No,
Or
no.
yeah, so you were just helping your dad is what you were doing.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do next.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but you come from a home where food is a big deal, right?
Right, absolutely. I mean, food is the one. I mean, the mealtime is the one time of the day that the family gets together and you see each other and you talk. And,
Yeah,
or
and
not.
this has given you a big opportunity also to kind of bring your culture out and have people try your food and learn more about your culture.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the greatest rewards or feel good moments when people are understanding or they're interested and curious about where the food comes from, what the culture is like, and so
Yeah.
forth.
So, did you work with your dad in the store at all?
I used to help him growing up, I'd help him at the cash register and things like that in the market. And then we didn't work really together in that capacity until the restaurant.
Szechuan. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What is it about Szechuan food that makes it different? I mean, Brandon, I don't know, maybe you can answer that question. Why is it different? I always tell people it's not like any other Chinese food in San Antonio. It's different. Why?
Right. So once you step into one of the restaurants and you start looking at the menu, you realize that this isn't your regular Chinese food. And it's very iconic in that the flavors are different than your Americanized Chinese food. And so once you have it, right, once you taste those spices, once you get the huajiao, the mala, right, that mouth-numbing kind of lidocaine sensation, you never forget it. But it is so aromatic, botanical, and it's an experience. Like you said, Alan, it's an experience. The whole cuisine is. And then if you have a menu that highlights that, like we have at the two restaurants, you'll never forget it. And if you don't know about it and you do, then you tell everyone about it. And there's an Anthony Bourdain quote that I keep seeing pop up on my feed, and it's about hangovers. And someone asked him, how do you cure a hangover? He was like, well, you have to have, some ibuprofen, some Coca-Cola, and some spicy Sichuan food, right?
it.
And something like that. And so that it's just so memorable in the flavors. And when you look at it's a culinary designation in China, and Sichuan itself, the province is very fertile, right? It's where pandas come from. And there's thousands and thousands of years of civilization that have lived there. There's an ancient civilization prior to the ancient civilization, right? And so when you look at it from a historical perspective, you kind of understand the depth in the ingredients and the recipes. And so it has a lot of depth, and you'll never forget it.
Wow, very
Yeah,
very
that
cool.
is very cool.
Yeah. So, Kristina, want to get back to learning how to cook and stuff. Did you already know, or did you really get into it after you decided you were going to be part of this restaurant?
Well, I'm Szechuanese, and so it's in my blood.
It's in your blood. Love it. Love it. Yeah.
But my father and my grandfather, actually both sides of my family, they're very good at cooking, and so to elaborate on what Brandon was saying, so Szechuanese cuisine is one of 8 formally recognized culinary styles within the Chinese cooking subset. I think overall, globally, Cantonese cuisine and Sichuanese cuisine are probably amongst the most prominent that we see. A lot of your early restaurants, Chinese restaurants in the United States, are definitely more Cantonese inspired. Sichuan and all the different regional cookings are going to be influenced by their location geographically in the country, the altitude there, what they have access to, their cooking styles, preparation styles, and the ingredients that they're using are what make them distinctive in the regional cuisines. Of course, now with transportation, modern technology, there's a lot more fusion going on, and a lot of modern Sichuanese cooking has a lot of fusion elements from other regions and even Western influence. But that's the big difference for Sichuan cooking is that is the particular ingredient usages and the preparation techniques.
Yeah.
Wow.
Would you say that, if the most restaurants in San Antonio are a little bit more Cantonese style, Is that right? What you
I would say so.
Yeah.
Majority of the Chinese restaurants.
But I
we
always
find here.
assumed that if I went to China, it wouldn't taste anything like what we're eating at a typical San Antonio restaurant. However, I always thought that when I was at Dashi, if I went to China, it would taste just like this. Would you agree with that?
I'd say we get pretty darn close.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So what's the difference? I mean, so Sichuan House it was the start, right? And so is it more the traditional and family recipes and that kind of thing? So so Dashi is yours. When you what made you decide? Okay, I'm ready to open this new location and this new restaurant.
I think a lot of things are just the stars being in alignment. It was an opportunity came up. It seemed to be a good decision at the time, and we just went
for it.
And so, but I had been thinking about a second location for a long time, and with Sichuan House, I mean, they're classic Szechuan recipes. We've always had Szechuan cuisine trained chefs in our kitchen, and there are a lot of like just very classic. You just know that this like mapo tofu, and the double cooked pork belly, or even the Szechuan braised pork belly. Those are just very iconic Szechuan dishes, and everybody's going to have their own slight spin to that. And so Szechuan House has a lot of those classic iconic dishes, and so does Dashi. And what we have at Dashi is a much larger kitchen space and a different type of setting. So we really get to showcase that food in a different way. And yeah, we also have a full beverage program over there, and so you can also add in the pairing elements, diving a little bit deeper into the whole culture of eating.
Right. I love that. Yeah. So you have at Dashi you have a full bar available. Yeah.
Yeah, craft cocktail bar. We do great on the classics, and then we do have some spins into like your baijiu selections. We do have an amazing baijiu cocktail, which is the most consumed liquor on the planet.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, it's a Chinese clear liquor, but they have like 1.6 billion people over there, and that's like their national drink. So
It raises to the top pretty quick.
yeah, if you haven't heard of it, don't worry, because it's very specific to China.
Maybe this wasn't the same, but I remember at an event you had a cocktail, and of course I wanted to taste it. And it had kind of a smoky flavor. It was so interesting and different. I'd never tasted anything like it. What was that?
The smoky one, maybe the High Road.
Maybe it was the Jackie Chan.
The Jackie Chan. The Jackie Chan.
Had the
We used to put
overproof.
overproof rum, and then it was
Cinnamon stick.
Cinnamon stick. So it looked like it was smoking a cigar, like a Pokemon smoking a cigar. As you'd like take it through the dining room, and everyone who saw it's like, oh my gosh, what's that? I want that.
Wow.
So,
That is too cool. Yeah, I love that. So you guys have. Are you in charge? Do you take care of the bar as far as coming up with the recipes and things like that?
the bar is a true collaboration. My foundation is let's get the classics right, and then let's move into the creative part of it, right? And so once a season, we'll have a demo day, which I task the bartenders of coming up with seasonal cocktails, but they have to then break down the units of the metrics of it, right? The logistics of it, the recipes and everything. Does this cocktail even make sense to make, right? And so then they come up with that, they present it, they know their costs, they know everything about it, and then we display it, and we invite people to come in and taste it, and they give us feedback. So it's a collaboration between, me as the foundation of classics, the bartender's creativity, and then the guest feedback. And then that's how we develop our cocktails.
Oh, nice. I love that. Yeah, you guys have some pretty amazing events where, and I think that's also one of the things that I think has been pretty exciting, I believe, for San Antonio, are these events that you guys have where people can come and really have an experience like no other. So do you guys have anything coming up soon, or?
We have a few things in the works, TBA. But, Dashi, the namesake of Dashi, every syllable that you hear in the Chinese language is a unique individual word. And so the two characters that make up Dashi, Da means big or grand, and Shi actually means teacher or artist. And so Dashi combined means great teacher, grand artist. And so it because the restaurant experience the process of things. It's a collaboration of minds from all over, from what you see visually, the aesthetics, to what your actual product, your food, or your beverage, your item that's going to be served. It's a combination of art, passion, and also science.
That is so cool. I love that. And you're right. I remember the first time I ate at Dashi, the presentation, it was just beautiful of the food, the way everything was served, just the way everything looked. So initially, having that experience before actually trying it, and I was so excited. But anyways, yes, that's really cool. I love that.
We have a brilliant, amazing chef, Chef Jian Li. He is a grandmaster chef, and at one time, his disciple brother was the executive over at Sichuan House, meaning that they studied under the same grandmaster in the same town in Szechuan, the same town where Kristina's father's from.
Oh, amazing.
My gosh.
And when we went to China, we went to this town, and we got to see our retired chef, Chef Fan, which was awesome. So, bridging the two restaurants together on the culinary side with the disciple brothers is pretty cool.
That is really cool.
Is really cool, yeah.
And now Chef Lee's actual disciple is running the kitchen.
So we have
That's
Chef Little
wonderful.
Lee. Little Lee is over at Sichuan
Little Lee,
House.
Sichuan House. That is crazy.
Yeah, that's great.
Wow.
That's great. I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast that you guys just recently got married. And so I know y'all took a trip to China. Was that your first time back, or have you been back through the years?
I've been back through the years. It's been my first time back since 2019. So since the shutdowns.
Well, you spent quite a bit of. Was that your first time?
That was my first time in China. Yes.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Tell me about
I
it.
was living through your photos.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
What was wild? Tell me about your trip.
So the lead up to it, the anticipation of going into, a country where the international relations aren't the best. But Xi Jinping had been to San Francisco and kind of opened things up. And then the chefs were telling me, Brandon, you have to go, because we hang out with the chefs once a week for a hot pot and stuff. And they were like, you have to go, Brandon, you have to go. And Kristina was ready to go. So there's a lot of anticipation leading up to it. And I was like, I don't know if I want to go. But once I was there, met a lot of Kristina's family. She has these very interesting, amazing uncles.
Everybody has one, right?
Yeah.
Two.
Absolutely.
And so we started out in Beijing, which one of her sister from another Miss Jing who y'all probably see running around Dashi every once in a while. We got to see her mother. We got to hang out with her uncle, and we got to experience and meet this amazing chef over there. His name is
Dadong.
Dadong.
Yeah. Means big Dong. His name is Dong.
Yeah.
And he's a
big.
very tall
He's 6'5".
So Dadong.
Wow.
Yeah.
But his restaurants. They're the standard bearer in China for the Beijing
Peking roast duck.
Peking roast duck.
Oh my gosh.
And we got to see his process
Wow.
because her uncle, her uncle's wife is a canvas artist, very famous, and was being commissioned to produce canvas art for one of his new restaurants. So we were able to go to his office and see his creative process. And that really inspired me when we got back, because his creative process, he said he's only taken 10 days off in 40 years.
Wow.
But his office is where he's got his photography, he's got his calligraphy, he practices calligraphy, plays cards and stuff, and all these people will come in, he'll play cards with them, they'll go out, chefs will come in, hey, chef, taste this, and they'll go out. So he's vertically integrated the creative process into his work time, which I tried to do at Dashi. When I got back, I made us a little office and stuff, but it was really inspiring because, like Dashi, it is a creative process, and that inspires us to keep going. Maybe when we don't have a lot of time off, it has to be done there in the workplace.
Right. Doing everything all, yeah.
Yeah.
So are you going to, I'm gosh, I imagine your creative juices must have just been going crazy with. Are we going to see new changes in the menu, or new additions, or new things?
I think we always throw a few new dishes in there on a regular basis. I think it was very eye opening because the entire process is different. I mean, the biggest difference is going to be your population. Like there's San Antonio, or actually it can arguably say the United States, just does not have that type of population density that you have overseas. I mean, we're the 7th largest city in the country, and we're clocking in at just a little over 1 million people. I mean, the 30th or the 50th largest city in China has easily 5 million people. So it's like the way that they operate is different. So in many ways, you could say that, I don't know if advanced is the right way to describe it, but the problems that they have to deal with, or the logistics that they have to deal with, are just very different than what we have. And then some of their I guess techniques, if you will, or business acumen just doesn't apply over here, and vice versa.
Right. Sure.
So
Yeah.
it's
Because you're
kind
dealing
of
with-
interesting.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, we should probably stop here and take a break, and we'll be right back.
Sounds good.
We have Brandon Lalaine and Kristina Zhao of Dashi and Sichuan House. I'm going to get better. Szechuan House.
Perfect.
Be right back. Susie, one of our biggest audience members is restaurant owners or people that are thinking about getting into restaurants.
Yes.
And from talking to them, the biggest issue they have in running a restaurant is their POS system.
Absolutely. It's such an important, of course, part of being a restaurant owner.
Yeah, and some of them they're just these big behemoth software companies that do so much it just gets. San Antonio POS is who we recommend because San Antonio POS is locally owned, locally managed, and you get local service.
Absolutely. And we've heard some restaurant owners who have been in such a pickle. They've needed to get a representative out there to fix something on their POS system because it is so important, and they haven't been able to get a hold of somebody or get somebody out there. They'll tell them it's 3 days before we can get somebody out there, and that is not workable. Where with San Antonio POS, because they are local, they're there and ready to help.
They're right away. San Antonio POS uses SkyTab, which is a software that was made for the hospitality industry, and it has everything you already want. But the first thing that our friend David Dyken that owns San Antonio POS, he'll come out and he'll sit with you and find out exactly what your processes are and design it for your restaurant.
Yeah, and one of the reasons, because we are really picky about who we work with, even sponsors. We want to make sure that they are.
You're not picky. You work with me.
Yeah. I'm very picky.
All right.
But David is amazing. He has a heart like we do, as far as the restaurant owners go, where he really cares and he goes in there. He wants the restaurant to succeed.
And he's been doing this more than 30 years, so he knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing, exactly.
Yeah.
The other cool thing about San Antonio POS is and that system is there's no hidden costs.
That's right.
So a lot of different systems, they charge for their gift cards, they charge for loyalty programs, they charge for all of those different types of things where it's all included.
Yeah, and not only that, right now they have a special. If you have a San Antonio POS put into your system, afterwards, you'll get $5,000 back. That helps to cover the cost for your training, helps to cover the cost of any downtime that you had while switching. It really is a great opportunity.
It is a great program. Exactly, yeah. So David Dyken is the individual that you want to get a hold of. He owns San Antonio POS, and as we said, amazing fella. And you can go to his website. Alan, his phone number is
210-723-6075.
Make sure you say that San Antonio Restaurants or the Flavors of Texas sent you.
That's right. And you can also go to our website, which is theflavorsoftexas.com. Scroll down to the bottom, and you'll see a banner that says San Antonio POS. Click on that, and it takes you right there.
Absolutely.
All right. And we are back. This is The More You Know, The Better It Tastes. And today we have from Dashi and from Sichuan House, we have Brandon Lalaine and Kristina Zhao. And Dashi is at 2895 Thousand Oaks. What is that? Right by Jones Maltzberger, right? Is the side street. So wonderful, wonderful restaurant. Lots of parking. There's a little outdoor patio, a bar. There's a large restaurant. It's the place to go.
Yeah, and it's an experience. That's what I love. I
Yes.
think we talked about that already. Yeah, it's when you walk in, it's an experience.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and Sichuan House is at 3505 Wurzbach Road. That's kind of sideways across from Ingram Park Mall, right? Did I say that correctly? Yeah. That's,
Right behind.
that's how I would describe it to people anyway. I remember a friend of mine was the one that first told me about it before you had Dashi. And, have you ever gone here? And I said, no, no. And he said, oh, it's so good. You got it. So then we went and said, wow, this is so different. You have, number one, you have a really creative menu. And we want to get into the menu some. But while we were on break, Brandon poured us a little treat.
Well, so
What
I
do
was,
we
I
got
was,
here?
well, I was just going to say, so there's nothing better than when guests bring
Goodies.
exactly,
Yeah.
and that doesn't happen. You would think it would happen more often than it does, but it doesn't. So it's always exciting when we actually
Yeah.
we get something from you guys. So yeah, tell us about this cocktail.
All right, so here we go. This is the Sichuan Poppy daiquiri that we have over at Dashi. It's named after, it's
Brandon is Szechuan Poppy.
I'm Sichuan Poppy,
Yes,
and I really like daiquiris. Daiquiris are besides the margarita, it's the official industry cocktail of San Antonio. And it's called Slam Antonio because in the industry, whether it's bartenders, servers, they go to a bar, they know the bartender there. It's like, all right, let's slam a DAC. And then they'll just shoot a daiquiri. And to most of the country, that's kind of strange. But here in San Antonio, we're called Slam Antonio for a reason. So, favorite
So much
cocktail.
better than Fat Antonio. What's his name calls us? But
Oh, yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah. What is it, Barkley?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this cocktail is going to feature an aged rum, 18-year aged rum. It's going to feature an overproof, okay? And instead of lime, I do lemon in the Sichuan Poppy daiquiri because lime is very acidic and it gives me rosacea. Okay, so the acidity is a little low. Plus, I think it allows the rum, like your 18-year aged rum, to like kind of sing in the cocktail, so it has more depth. And then, of course, the overproof is going to give it that banana floral smell, like the aromatics, and of course the kick. And so this one, if you go to the higher level, right, which is the overproof, we call it walking the plank. All right, so you can up the ante. It's yo-ho, a pirate's life for me, with the rum.
Right.
So you can walk the plank with the Sichuan Poppy daiquiri. So that's what we got here. Great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, this is an extra treat because Susie and I both have been doing dry January. So this is
It's been
we're
the
breaking
hardest thing I've ever done. No, I'm just kidding.
So
I'm
this is
telling
a
you, every
treat.
night I'm like, well, I need that glass of wine.
All right.
But we're going to break it
cheers.
today. so-
Cheers. Yeah.
Alan?
Yes. Ching ching.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh,
There you go.
I
All
knew it.
right,
I knew
walking
it.
the plank.
That's right.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I like the lemon in it. I could tell that's.
I was going to say, but initially, the scent.
Yeah.
I'm always drawn to that first. I always smell everything first, and that's the initial. So when you said the aged old rum, that was the very first thing that hit me when I
Yeah.
kind of smelled it.
Yep.
Anyway, really
It's
really good.
El Salvadorian, big on the banana florals, and I think it makes a wonderful daiquiri that you can just sip. It reminds me of like the beach,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Well, daiquiris as a whole, I didn't start drinking daiquiris until I was in Key West. And, got into the Ernest Hemingway stuff. And, of course, he's,
Yeah.
the king of daiquiri, right? So that's when I started drinking daiquiris. And yeah, they're really a delicious drink.
It's like candy.
Well, and you guys actually have a daiquiri pour-off type of event, don't you?
Yep. Yeah. So we have the DAC off.
The DAC off.
And so annually, and what the competition is who makes the best daiquiri in Texas. So bar teams of 2 from all over the city come together for a throwdown. So there's 3 levels, or there's 3 ways we judge it. So there's people's choice, right? There's judge's choice, and then there's the fastest daiquiri. Because
Fastest?
fastest
Wow,
who can make the
okay.
daiquiri the fastest. And then we have a panel, a star-studded panel of industry experts, veterans, celebrities, and so
People
they're
who
the
know their
judges.
stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and this past year
How
we had
fun.
Oh, it's wild. It's wild. We had 12 teams this past year. Some of the best bar programs in the city. Of course, there's a lot. So, there's some teams that were not on there. Yeah. But I thought it was an amazing lineup. It was, and this year the theme was shipwrecked. Mm-hmm. So we turned Dashi into a deserted island. Okay, right, with like. Vines everywhere and like skulls and crossbones. And then I reached out to a taxidermist and I had like beasts everywhere.
Oh, wonderful idea.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it was literally like summoning the spirits of Davy Jones's locker, right? Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't been, I keep saying I want to go, but I've seen photos and it looks like a lot of fun.
It was wild. We have to maybe just tone it down a little bit. It manifested into everything I thought it was going to be, and then it just kept going.
Yeah,
right.
It was wild.
To begin with, when you call it a DAC off.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's
starting with that.
by the time you're into, So when is the next event coming up?
We are in the process of defining our events. We actually had a team meeting yesterday, put it all out on the calendar. Now that holidays are over, we can kind of refocus, revamp, and that's up for some development there. We typically have it in June, and it's just very hot. Like Kristina was saying, we have 8 different HVAC units, and we have vaulted ceilings, and in June it's like 100-something degrees, and you have 150 people in there. It gets very hot. So we're thinking about maybe changing it to sometime earlier in the season, but to be determined, to be announced.
Yeah, very cool. So one of the things that, and I'm so sorry, I know we're rolling back, but back to you guys just getting married. What I wasn't able to go, unfortunately, because I was sick. But when I had an opportunity, of course, to read your just the layout of your the plans, I guess, of your wedding, and I was just blown away by the tradition that was incorporated into your wedding. And everybody that I spoke with who was there said it was just magnificent.
And I was there, and it was.
You were there, yes.
Alan was there.
Yes.
SA Restaurants was there.
Yes. Being a part of the, or just having that experience of that tradition that I think that isn't a typical wedding. So cool. I don't know. It's just.
Yeah. Well, we had the lion dancers,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was my grandmother is Apache, and she is a Tejano, right? Spanish Apache, and so we had the rope ceremony, the Apache rope ceremony in there, and then both my mother and father, their families are Catholic, so we had some of that woven in there as well. And then, of course, the Chinese traditions were woven in there. So it was a lot. And then, of course, our I guess not our pastor, but the person who married us was Michael Neff, the cocktail wizard, formerly Bar Loretta.
Wow.
Now, yeah. So we even wove in the hospitality aspect of it too. Yeah, it was a real honor to have him do that.
That was an amazing
There
wedding.
were
It was a lot of fun.
a lot of hospitality restaurant folks that contributed to our wedding. We're very, very grateful and thankful. They sprinkled their magic all throughout, just all the different events that we had, and the bites that were presented as well. And it was very, very special.
Mm-hmm.
It was wild. It was just take the DAC off and then put it in like 4 straight days.
Yeah, that's right. It was a long wedding.
It was a long wedding.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So Brandon, what is your background as far as,
Yeah, where are you from?
yeah.
I'm from San Antonio.
Oh, you are? I
Family's from San Antonio.
remember meeting your very fun aunt from Louisiana.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe that's where you were from.
So I'm essentially a product of Texas. Okay, so I'm French, German, Spanish, and Apache, right? And if you think about all the different influences and all the different settlers and what you would take in Texas, right? Historically, Texas, all those cultures intermingled, you produce me, okay? And so I do have, my last name is Lalaine, which is French, or Lalaine.
Right.
And so that part of the family settled in Lafayette and then moved into Central Texas. Of course, my grandmother is down in the valley and then the German, the Niesners out of Schulenburg. And so that's my heritage,
Yeah.
but from San Antonio, and I went to Texas A&M, got a degree in political science.
Whoa. You went to A&M and you went to Texas?
I did.
And y'all still married? All right.
I've seen the rivalries.
House divided.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then of course, A&M could not score a touchdown, and the 1 yard line. Right. So she's got one up on me.
Yeah.
But after college, I went out to the oil field back in 2010 when I was 22, and worked on the rigs, roughneck there for a number of years. I started writing a blog, a human interest blog that caught attention of the corporate office, and then I was writing policy in Houston for a number of years.
Wow.
Jumped into my family on my mom's side, my stepfather, they're in hotels. And so from a very young age, been around hotels and hospitality in that aspect. And then Kristina opened Dashi, and I guess she said she dipped her toe into the restaurant game. I guess I did too, but
Yeah, I
you
was
can't
gonna
just
say.
dip a toe in the restaurant game. You just jump all in.
Yeah, I was
you're
going to
in.
say, did you ever think that you'd be, involved in a restaurant like this?
No. And, I was more of an observer of Sichuan House. And when the development and the build out of Dashi started happening, I brought in kind of my own crew from the hospitality side, and we built out the bathrooms and stuff. And then I didn't want to be a part of the family business anymore. And Kristina was like,
You can help me out until you find something else to do.
Ah.
yeah. And it's been a wild ride, but I never thought that, I would have or be a part of
Yeah.
a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how did y'all first meet?
Well, go ahead, Kristina.
Go ahead. We met online.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We met on a
Nice.
dating
It's
app.
it's the new conventional way to meet,
It blows my mind because in my day, this isn't my day, that there was no such thing, but I've known so many people that have done that, and it works. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, well, she was super busy with Sichuan House, and I was super busy with hotels, and then I had a tech company I was trying to get off the ground at the time. So there's just no social time, and we're such people that work. Basically, work is what we
24/7.
enjoy
Yeah.
like to do, evidently.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it was a good way to, just get out and meet. But we met at the Pearl.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And we got coffee, and then that quickly went to Sternworth, and she made fun of me because I got bubbles and she got a hard whiskey drink. Yeah. So I was like, okay. She was like, oh, so you're light and fruity. I'm like, what does that mean? You're hard and boozy?
That's right. That's right. It's a perfect combination, So,
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's very cool. So, and so, Kristina, I think as I mentioned before, I mean, you really have kind of changed the culinary footprint, I think, here in San Antonio, or brought something new and exciting
definitely
to
something new.
Yeah, for example, and so what would you say is something on your menu that you feel like, everybody needs to come and have?
Oh, that's a hard question. I think everything on our menu is done with integrity and done well. I think what makes our restaurants most different is the style of service, the format of it. Everything is designed and intended to be shared, family style. And, a big thing that really stood out when in our overseas travel is really the priority of food. Like, even if you go into a business meeting or something like that, no business is happening unless you can demonstrate that you understand a formidable meal and so forth. And so it's really people coming together at the table and sharing, like literally sharing the plates that come out is
love
what
that.
makes the experience different. And you get to try a lot of different things that way.
Right. Yeah. So recently you actually graced us with one of your family recipes for our holiday edition for Flavors of Texas. And I just thought the story was so cool that you sent. It was, sharing a piece of your family. I mean, this is a recipe that your dad would make every year. I think it was your dad, right? Yeah, would make every year. And then I think it was a pork, and then it was a twice.
So it's a two-parter.
So it's a two-part. Yes, exactly. And I just thought that was so neat that I don't know. It's one of the things I love about this particular issue is that everybody sent recipes that meant something to them. So anyway, and it kind of had that same. I guess that feel that you're talking about right now. Everything seems like it's just about family.
It's communal. It brings people together. I mean, there's a Chinese saying. It says "民以食为天." And that means to the people, food is the heavens. And if you think about the country of China, it was very poor for a very, very long time, and it has a massive population. And so for you to share your food with somebody, it's an ultimate expression of love. And so it's a huge component of the culture. And so we strive to bring that within both the restaurants. And so, we always encourage people to enjoy it family style. Of course, we're not going to make you do that, but also know that the food's really not going to come out all together at the same time for your whole table. It is intended for you to just enjoy as it comes out.
Yeah.
Right.
Which that's a lot of the fun of going to a restaurant like yours, is just sharing the food, visiting while you're talking, not even noticing, oh, they brought another plate. Oh, let's go, and get it. So, and you've done really, really good job of making the menu items creative. Like your egg drops. It's not egg drops. It's bougie egg drops.
It
Yeah.
really is the coolest soup.
Yeah.
It really is. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but you have a lot of fun names and stuff. Which
Chengdu
makes fun.
Cowboy.
Yeah. Talk
Well,
about that one.
A
Yeah.
lot of the dishes, like the nature of the dishes are intended to make the item approachable and relatable. So the Chengdu Cowboy is our take on steak frites, essentially. So it's got this delicious ribeye that's cubed already, and it has this. It's savory, it's a little bit sweet, it's zingy, it's spicy, it has that numbing sensation, and then it's served over a bed of fries.
Yeah.
And so it's
Okay,
Oh my
I need to
gosh.
come have this. Okay.
I was looking
I
at
had
the
no
other steak
idea.
that you have. Yeah, yeah. Do you get tired of everyone just focusing on your green beans? Everyone says, "Oh, the best
They are
green beans.
good,
Got
I'll
to get the
tell
green
ya.
beans. Got to be." Do you
No,
get?
I don't get tired of
Okay.
people wanting my food.
Yeah, it's fun. I
Wonderful.
remember, and I think I know I've told this story before, so you've probably heard it. But I remember the very first time that I went to Dashi, and I messaged Alan, and I was like, "Guess where I'm at?" And he messaged back, and he said, "Get the green beans; they will change your life." And I said, "Okay," and he was right.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what you do, but it kind of it brings out additional flavor that you have never had before.
It's the blood, sweat,
Yeah.
and tears of all of our servers.
That's
well,
their side work. They have to
Right.
cut the green beans.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's a
okay.
secret weapon. So for the servers, part of their side duties are to cut the ends off of the green beans. But it's a secret weapon. If you're not recommending the green beans, and which everyone loves, well, then you're not doing your job, because they're the most sold items. So if you want to make a great recommendation and wow your new time guests, recommend the green beans.
Yeah, true.
And that's part of why it's their side work. But crates and crates of green beans.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure you go through a lot. Wow, that's so cool.
So do you guys have? So I know you do catering. You also offer a space for private parties and events and that kind of thing as well, right?
Dashi is perfect for that, for large groups, 15, 20, 25, 30, however many. And we always try to work with the guests to plan out that event. It makes service so much more enjoyable for everybody.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure.
But it's conducive to that versus for Szechuan House. I mean, Szechuan House is 2,600 square feet versus Dashi has 6,000. And so we have a lot more room
space
to accommodate for fun events.
Yeah, sure. So what are your hours? Just out of curiosity.
So Szechuan House is every day, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. And then we have a 1 hour break in between from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock. And then Dashi is a little bit different. So we're 11:30 to 8:30 Monday through Thursday with a break 3 to 4. We're closed on Tuesdays. And then Friday and Saturday, it's until 9:30 with the break from 3 to 4, and then Sunday is 12 to 8 straight through.
Wow. So, just so for everybody listening, everybody is always asking us who's open on Monday. So here you go.
We are open on Monday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we get that all the time.
I'm asking that too. I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, let's go here. You know,
Nobody's
It's like,
open on Mondays.
Yeah.
I know.
It's
So
really
we,
hard.
we get that all the time. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Very tough. Well, you know what? We are out of time, but will you guys come back sometime? Because we didn't really get to get into everything we wanted to.
And
Part
just
2.
and really, really quickly, I'm just glancing at your schedule, and I'm sorry, at your website, and I see that you have specials, like daily specials. So if you go onto the website, there's some pretty cool specials on there, daily specials.
Absolutely. Wonderful happy hour specials every day. And we do have a wonderful whiskey flight. We have a flight special. So go on the website. You'll see what those specials are. And if you're looking for something on Monday, definitely check us out.
Oh, and one other thing I wanted to bring up. You guys got a really cool podcast. I wanted to give a shout
yeah,
out on
that's
that.
right.
So
You
tell us the
do.
name of your podcast and how people can find you.
All right. It's Industry Pop SA. And subject matter inspired by the amazing personalities in the culinary industry here in San Antonio, as well as the foodies who follow them and the food, the event circuit. But we talk about pop culture in San Antonio. We also talk about next level stuff into things like the Michelin Guide or the hot taxes, hotel occupancy is what we recently talked about. So we look at it from lightheartedness, headlines. And then, there may be one or two subjects where we kind of go a little deeper.
Kind of getting into the, yeah.
Yeah, and we have special guests. Sometimes they just like walk in. It's like, oh, hey, chef, come on in here, jump in.
Right.
And
So now you have to have us on your podcast.
Oh yeah, come on in. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
You're shameless.
I'm putting it out there on air.
We
on
would love
camera.
SA restaurants. Yeah,
Anyway,
Wow.
yes,
Well, thank y'all.
congratulations.
Thank
and
you guys so much.
congratulations for number one
Yes.
for the two of you and your
Thank you.
but also in everything that you guys have going on and for I know the exciting things for 20. I can't wait to see
Things to
2025.
come. Who
Yeah,
knows,
exactly.
right?
Who knows?
Yeah.
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 for sure.
Wow. Well, great. Well, and thank you for bringing the drink too. So,
know.
yeah. Is there a what do you say in Mandarin instead of cheers? Is there a word that you say?
You can say 碰杯 or you can say 干杯. People say 干杯, but 干杯 literally means bottoms up.
Oh.
So if you say 干杯,
Then you gotta drink- you gotta
have
drink
to
it up.
finish the whole thing.
Okay.
So, but you can say 碰杯. 碰杯 means to
碰杯.
touch,
Okay.
touch the
Pompeii.
glass.
All right. Well, thank you for
Pompeii.
being here, and Susie will be back. So, guys,
Yes.
Brandon Lalaine and
you.
also Kristina Zhao of Dashi and Sichuan House at 2895 Thousand Oaks is Dashi and 3505 Wurzbach is Sichuan House. Got to check it out.
Yes.
All right. Guys, come back again next week. We'll have another great interview.
We will.
All right.
Bye,
Cheers.
guys. And eat local.
Bye.
Support local.
碰杯. 碰杯.